Alright, let's continue. I squeeze my hand into a fist and then release it. I don't feel any different. Eric is staring at me with these hopeful, large eyes behind his glasses. And, he urges me, I raise my arm, fanning out my fingers in the air and try to conjure my thread. Sadly, nothing happens. My dejected posture says enough, and Eric leans back into his chair, his hand on his chin. Maybe it might take a while to kick in, he suggests. Maybe, I say with a strained smile. I'm not going to lie, I was quite hopeful when he came running with an antidote. Too bad it doesn't seem to work. Am I really never going to have powers again? I know James helped kick some sense into me, but it was still a large part of my identity. Don't worry, I'll get back to work. I'm going to continue to experiment until you get them back, Eric proclaims loudly. I'd rather not get injected with experimental shots every time, though. I say drearily. What if it makes me sick? Eric shrugs. Side effects are to be expected. I'm your sister, bitch. What are you talking about? My eyes grow large. Eric, don't turn me into a guinea pig. Well, Kane's already gone to the parade. Out of the two of you, you're the only one available. Oh, he's already gone? I ask. I haven't had much time to do anything this morning, let alone check the news. Yeah, he wants to make sure Julio won't attack or something. I think he just wants to capture Ben. I don't blame him. I shake my head. Still, it's dangerous. He's defenseless. Why don't you follow the parade on the live stream? Eric mentions. I guess. I leave my brother alone to his thoughts and experiments and walk back upstairs. James halts his movements when he sees me appear from the basement. A flurry of emotions hit me like a truck and I can't help but awkwardly look away. Good morning, I say, trying to force myself to talk. Morning, he greets me back like usual. I hope you won't be skipping your training again like yesterday. Oddly enough, he's acting normal, just the same James obsessed with training. Not the one that kissed me last night as we flew across the lake and then sank his fangs into my neck. I won't. Training will be good to keep my mind off things, I reply, though I do want to watch the parade. As I rub my hand over my neck, I realize I can't find the small puncture wound left behind. Shouldn't it be on the right side of my neck? What are you doing? Asks James after I've been trying to locate the area for a while. I stammer. I can't feel where you bit me. James approaches me, standing in front of me as he reaches out his left hand. Surprised, I stand still and allow him to flip away some of the hair from my neck. He narrows his eyes and I suddenly get all nervous. There, he says as he presses his thumb lightly against my skin. I gulp at the proximity between us. The small gesture is enough to light a fire inside of me, making me recall the events of yesterday. Does this really mean that we're together? I ask, still feeling all jumbled. James stands straight, shagging off his hand from my neck. Well, usually there's an exchange between the two. I suppose since you haven't done your part, it isn't technically complete. My part? I ask, raising an eyebrow. You're not saying I should bite you too, right? That is customary, yes, he says calmly. Rahu surrender themselves to their mate and exchange power. Ignoring the fact that he's saying I should be biting him too, my ears perk up at the word surrender. That makes me incredibly gleeful. I, just a normal human being, managed to make an alien prince surrender to me. I don't like that look on your face, James says with a sneer. What are you plotting? I'm not plotting anything. But hey, surrender, you said? You've surrendered to me. I push myself up close to him with a smile. He awkwardly averts his eyes. Yes, in a sense. My smile grows wider. So, the great Captain James has surrendered himself to me. James gives me a small and disapproving glare. Are you enjoying yourself with this? This is not a joking matter. Oh, give me a break. I'm using humor to cope with the situation. This is all new to me, I say with a sigh. He clears his throat, as it is to me, too. You know, we should probably lay down some ground rules or something, just so we're on the same page, I suggest. Ground rules, such as? He asks, crossing his arms with one quirked eyebrow. I don't know, like, we shouldn't be dating other people? I say awkwardly, gesturing with my hands. It's not every day that I need to be defining a relationship with someone who used to be my kidnapper. He knows what a relationship is. He's not going to go date someone else. Define date, he says, and I realize that perhaps they don't do any dating over there. Let's see. To date means you're exclusive to someone romantically. You spend time together and become intimate with each other. Intimate meaning things like holding hands or kissing or, I gulp, sex. I can't believe I'm really talking about this right now, and for some reason it's quite embarrassing. I sheepishly look down at the floor as I realize my feelings are stronger for James than I initially thought they were. What I'm saying is, I don't want you to do those things with anyone else but me. James cocks his head to the side. I told you before, Rahu only mate once. I have no interest in mating someone else. Okay, good, I say with a relieved sigh. I just want to make it clear that, I haven't been with anyone else before. Intimately, that is. You haven't? James also looks pleased. It seems our lifestyles are closely aligned. I wouldn't say that, but for me specifically, I just haven't been with anyone before. I have no problem being loyal only to one person. James turns his head away, and my body is only available to you, always. And that's what causes my cheeks to burn with a blush. I start to stutter. Get a grip, Valkii. Does that mean I have to seriously bite your neck? While it's customary, I'm unsure if that's the right procedure, since you are an earthling. Human, I quickly correct him. That's a ground rule from now on. Stop calling me earthling. Our race is called human. Please respect that. He purses his lips, but then closes his eyes. Very well, I will concede. Thank you, I say with a smile. I do not think human teeth can complete an imprint, he continues. I don't exactly have sharp canines like you do, no, I agree. Then he suddenly grows quiet, looking away from me. Is this what you want? He asks me, his voice soft. Want what? To become my mate. He clenches his hand into fists by his side. I suppose that, considering it was one-sided so far, you could still back out if you do not wish to proceed with me. But you said it was irreversible, didn't you? I question him. The tint on his cheeks turned darker. Yes, I would be tied to you, but you are free. Oh, I gasped slightly. That would mean he's essentially tied to me for life, completely one-sided, whereas I could just continue my life as normal and even get into other relationships. I frowned deeply. No, I do not want to be in a relationship with someone else. The man in front of me, sporting an awkward and adorable blush, is offering me a way out, yet I find I don't want to. You may have sprung this upon me quite literally, I start slowly. I must be crazy to agree with this, but I guess I'm crazy for him. But I'm in. Let's finish what we started. James relaxes his shoulders. You will? He asks in relief. Oh god, that cute puppy dog-eyed look on his face right now, it's irresistible. I practically throw myself at him, standing on the tips of my toes to give myself a boost. I plant a quick kiss on his lips, grinning at him when I see his shocked reaction. What? He says, startled. Then his face reddens as he looks left and right, as if he's checking to see we're both alone. Yeah, he's like, that's basically sex, you can't do that in public. That was a sneak attack, he grumbles. There will be many more, I say with a sly grin. This just makes him more embarrassed as he crosses his arms over his chest once more. I really am amazed to see the many different expressions he's been having around me. To think this man used to give me these ice-cold glares threatening to kill me. And now, just look at him, completely harmless. I wish the moment had lasted forever, but Eok decides to finally join the party. Good morning, everyone. Valkii, are you going to the parade? He asks cheerfully. James puts some distance between the both of us, turning away from me. Guess he doesn't want to show his embarrassed side to Eok. No, I'm just going to follow the live stream, I reply. It means it's being recorded and I can watch from here, I quickly explain when I see Eok getting confused. I'm a little sad we're not going, he admits sheepishly. I would have loved to see how Earth celebrates festivals. Probably not that much different than Yule, answers James. Oh, but we definitely do, I correct him. This parade uses floats. They're these large pieces of art or displays that supers will stand on so that they can wave at the audience as they drive by. James gives me a questionable look. That sounds like god worship. You know what? Now that you put it like that, yeah, it kind of does. I never really thought about it that way, especially since it's all superficial anyway. People adore supers, but only when their mask is on. Whatever it is, that sounds like a lot of fun. Can I watch too? Eok asks excitedly. Sure thing. What? No, training, James interjects. We can train later, I dismiss him as I pull on Eok's arm to get him to walk with me to the living room. James follows us into the living room, giving Eok a death glare. The two of you, completely irresponsible, he huffs. I said we can train later, I argue. It is good to train in the morning when you're full of energy. Clearly you're a morning person, I mutter sarcastically. I turn on the TV and start searching for the parade livestream. Oh look, it's already started. I guess there's some interviews and whatnot before they start the actual floats. There's an ongoing interview with a popular super and a journalist on a large stage. Everything is going par for the course. I wonder if Kane has arrived as well. James quietly sits down next to me on the couch and I shoot him a small smile for deciding to delay his early morning routine for now. I hope nothing bad will happen, that our failed mission was still somehow enough to disrupt their plans, I say darkly. It would be foolish of them to continue their plans after being exposed, says James. They are bound to fail if they attack now, unless, of course, the response from the authorities is subpar. Yeah, exactly what I'm worried about. Then again, Forrester Inc. did seem to know about the Julio meeting and was going to infiltrate them as well. We ruined those plans. The interview goes on for some time until Neil Forrester appears on screen. Whenever I see his face, I just get in a foul mood. We appreciate all the supers that turned up today to honor the yearly super parade and celebrate their accomplishments. He reads off his cue card. May we have many more to come. Good speech, good speech. It was super short. He signs off with a rehearsed and award-winning smile. I roll my eyes, but then I see the parade start off with a bang. Look, here come the floats. You may even see some of my work, I say smugly. I did design some of those supersuits after all. Your work? Asks Eok, curious. The supersuits they're wearing. Some of them were made by me, I boast proudly. Ah, like mine, he points out eagerly. Exactly. Extravagantly decorated floats appear on the screen, with a super at its center, waving at the crowd. Some of them even have a dance crew to make the show more fun. Oh, that is fun. I see some familiar faces, which somehow makes me feel more at ease. It's been a while since I've seen these supers that I used to do business with. Has it really been half a year since I worked with a client? I wonder if people still remember my name as a designer. The parade continues without issue, much to James's dismay, as he's starting to get impatient. Have you seen enough yet? He says grumpily. We should start our training as soon as possible, especially now that I can phase again. Eok whips his head towards James. Prince James can phase again? He chirps out. How is that news to you? I have for the past 2 days. Your carelessness is going to get us into trouble in the future if you keep this up. Eok looks down after being scolded by James. Oh. A bang interrupts their squabbling. My eyes widen and I lean forwards closer to the TV. A super on a float falls down from his tower. Numerous other bangs can be heard through its audio. I fear the worst. Gunshots! Those are gunshots! The reporter shrieks in fear. I stand up from the couch, my blood pumping. Julio! They decided to attack after all. Did you really think they weren't? Shit. Kane is there too. This isn't good. Why is Kane there? He's not a super anymore. A news banner is shown across the screen, telling others to seek safety and hide. Those aren't just bullets they're shooting. They're stripping the supers of their powers. I turn to James. We have to help, I say. At the very least, we should get Kane out to safety. But Valkii, you're very vulnerable like this, Eok points out in a concerned tone. James gets up from the couch as well. I can get us there, he offers. Then let's go, I say with a nod. I'm coming too, Eok says hastily. Let's quickly get dressed then, I tell them. Once all of us don our supersuits, we gather at the living room. James walks to the front door to open it up. He scoops me up in his arms and allows Eok to get onto his back. His eyes flash a brilliant blue hue and he flies off into the sky. Wait, Valkii, where are you going? I hear Eric's voice scream after us. Sorry, brother. As we soar through the sky, I quickly message Kane on my cell phone. Where are you? I'm going to the parade right now. I saw my dad. I followed him. Are you safe? He definitely won't be. Don't do anything stupid. We're on our way. Tell me your location. My phone beeps and it shows Kane has shared his location with me. Okay, James, I know where Kane is. Just follow the blue dot on this screen. I instruct him and show him the GPS on my screen. Affirmative, he says and changes direction. I expected more chaos, to be honest. What I see are emptied streets and trash thrown about. In the distance, I see a couple of supers fighting off their assailants. But more importantly, where's Kane? Did he already move away from the coordinates he gave to us? Did he chase Benjamin? Was he captured? Over here, we hear a voice hiss from an alley. Kane, I exclaim and quickly run towards his voice. We all hide behind a large dumpster. Look, I managed to warn some supers in advance, but plenty were already shot while the parade was going, he starts to explain. And I saw my dad orchestrate it all. I followed him until I saw him get inside of a grey van. I whip my head around to look out at the street. That grey van? I point out. Yes, he's still in there. Has Forrester Inc. made a move yet? I ask. I saw a squad move out and subdue some of the henchmen. What about Neil? Kane shrugs. Dunno, beats me. I can only focus on one thing, you know. I look over at James. Should we attempt to capture him? He's right there. Eok and I can apprehend him, yes. I frown. What about me? You stay here and watch the professionals work, he says smugly. I'm going to assume he told you to sit back, huffs Kane. Speak English, okay? And we can fend for ourselves. We may be powerless, but we're not stupid. You've been plenty reckless enough already, James replies as a matter of fact. Me and Kane could create a diversion, I suggest, so they have to get out of the van to deal with us. Or they don't and just shoot you on the spot, says James. I'll be honest, I think they're only carrying the anti-super venom darts, not actual bullets. I think we won't get shot for real. Well, that's a dumb on their part. Honestly. You sure? I ask. Well, he trails off. Their guns look different from real ones, but considering they've been sniping supers out of the sky for the past 10 minutes, I think they're darts, not bullets. Yeah, but why wouldn't they have real guns with them? It would be stupid of us to assume they're not carrying real guns, though, I point out. Thank you, me. True, but I'm tired of waiting. Kane suddenly gets up with a determined expression on his face. He dashes out of the alley. Kane! I yell after him. Don't be stupid! Kane runs in front of the grey van. Hey, yeah, you, the loser in the van, he hollers as he runs in front of the parked van. I know you losers are in there. Get out! Shit, I hiss under my breath. Kane didn't give us time to react. Stay in the alley, James tells me. We can get through the back and open the doors, says Eok. Fine, I huff. Just be careful. They have mirrors on the sides so they can see you approach from behind. James takes notice of this. Can they see us from above? No, I say and grin at him. Eok, stay out of sight. Approach from behind, he commands him. Yes, Captain. James zooms up in the air, climbing past the tall buildings within a second. Eok has also made his move, slithering away and blending in with his surroundings. I peek around the corner to keep an eye on everything. Come out, you coward, Kane yells as he kicks the van's bumper. He's really asking to be shot like this. A car door opens up on the passenger side and a tall man steps out with a gun, aiming it at Kane. You gonna strip me of my powers again? Kane taunts the man. Go ahead and try. The man cocks the gun and holds it up to his eye. My heart rate speeds up. I don't think he's gonna be shooting a dart. That looks like a real gun. Just as he shoots, James drops down from the heavens and barrels straight through the rooftop of the van. Kane yelps and jumps out of the way as a bullet whizzes past his face. James jumps out of the gaping hole in the roof, dragging Benjamin by his collar. Two other men step out of the car and Eok starts hand-to-hand combat with them, easily dispatching of the first one, knocking him out cold. When the other man aims his gun at Eok, Kane is the one to quickly tackle him in his midriff. Except there's a third who is free to attack. Not under my watch! I'm gonna kill you! From the alley, I start pushing against the large dumpster, causing it to roll out onto the street. It collides against the man, throwing him onto the ground. Kane quickly comes over to kick his face while he's down. Thanks, I say with a smile. Eok cleverly uses the handcuffs the men were carrying to cuff them together and render them harmless. Good job, Eok, I praise him. All targets are secured, he tells James. James grips the collar of Benjamin's shirt and jumps down the van's rooftop. He pushes him forwards to face Kane and I. Hand me, you fiends, Benjamin hisses. You'll be sorry soon enough. I've got a hole. Kane punches Benjamin's face with a nasty right hook, causing a spurt of blood from his nose to expel into the air. Even Kane winces at the pain. That's for taking away my powers, he growls, and then he kicks Benjamin straight in his crotch. The red-headed man howls in pain and nearly collapses from the pain, except James is still holding him up straight. And that's for killing my mom. Kane finishes. Can't even tell him to knock it off because I perfectly understand his grievances. We caught the man responsible for my parents' deaths, and my only complaint is that Kane didn't kick him even harder. You're gonna regret this, Benjamin coughs. No, I correct him in a loud voice. You're going to regret this. I'd rather see you dead, but I'm happy to see you rot behind bars as well. We can commence torture to extract information, James speaks up in his own language. Maybe later. We need to reconvene. There are still a bunch of his henchmen out there shooting supers, I say in an urgent tone. You're going to call them off, I tell Benjamin with a glare. He laughs. That's not going to happen. He coughs as Kane punches him in his stomach. What's that? I couldn't hear you, he growls. You morons, do you really think I'm going to call them back? This is my life's work. We welcome the cleansing of this earth. Valkii, I can make him submit. Eok proposes, not speaking in English either. I know many extraction techniques. He is right. All soldiers are trained for information extraction, James agrees. What are they proposing? Asks Kane. Torture him until he calls them off, I say. This causes Benjamin to look up in fear. I can see an evil glint in Kane's eye. Oh, I like the sound of that. But before we can come to an agreement, the sky suddenly darkens. We all look up at, oh, it's Veritas! He's come! Was he supposed to come or is he coming early? Because that's fucking rude. We all look up at the sky, except it's not the sky anymore. It's a giant ship. Putrid mother's nutsack. I love his curse. James curses loudly. My mouth drops open as well. That's Lord Veritas' ship, Eok shrieks. He took the entire platoon with him. What the fuck is this timing? Kane complains as he throws his fist up at the sky. Shit, our defense has been rendered useless by this anti-super venom, I say through gritted teeth. Ha 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 ha. They have come to cleanse the earth of this filth. Kane, your dad is fucking crazy. Benjamin cackles. The ship hangs over the city like a shadow of gloom. We did it. We made sure no one could stop them. You will all be annihilated, he yells. Shut the fuck up, Kane growls and delivers a punch at Benjamin's face, knocking him out cold this time. Captain James, they're going to deploy the foot soldiers soon, Eok warns him. I know, James hisses. We're not going to get the backup we need from Forrester Inc., I say in an urgent voice. They're incapacitated at the moment. What is this timing? What do we do? What do we do? We need to round up the supers that are okay to help fight Veritas. They can't exactly fight in the city either. There's so many people around. James, can you lure them out in the open? I ask of him. Lead them away from the city so we can limit the number of casualties. I can make sure Lord Veritas follows me, but that still leaves the issue of the foot soldiers. We'll deal with them, says Kane. I know I can't exactly use my electricity at the moment, but I can definitely round up whatever supers are left to fight. And I can gather the rebels. Princess Lana wouldn't have come without them. Some of them are on our side, Eok pitches in. I can find Neil Forrester and hand over Benjamin while we're at it, I suggest. I'm not exactly fit for combat at the moment. Then, hopefully, he can send backup to wherever you and Veritas are. It seems we're all in agreement with each other. James throws Benjamin and the 3 other men in the back of the van, and then the small little drones start appearing out of the mothership. Hundreds of Gout soldiers start descending down onto the city. Alright, I'll be getting the other supers, says Kane as he runs off. Eok bows in front of me and James. I will be reaching out to the rebels. Good luck to you, Captain. I think I've declared I wasn't your captain anymore, James huffs. Well, Eok starts awkwardly. Now leave. Captain's orders. Oh. Eok grins. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I love them. Eok grins at him and then dashes off as well. Eok, don't forget that you're wearing your glamour, I remind him. They won't know it's you straight away. Ah, yes, yes, Eok replies as if he's forgotten completely. I stare at his back in worry. Both Kane and Eok are now gone. Veritas won't appear until he sees me, says James. I'll have to announce myself. I gulp, feeling even more worried now. James was never supposed to face Veritas alone. Forrester Inc. kept reassuring they had it under control. How did the ship even get here without us noticing? I say. I'm pretty sure we could see the ship approach last time. Lord Veritas' ship has a shield that cloaks. It's something the Rahu technology does not possess, and it's how he so easily ambushed my planet. Oh, is all I can say. That's terrifying. James looks at me, his eyes softening. There's a brief glimmer of reservation, maybe even fear. Valkii, he calls for my name, voice slightly wavering. Yes? Lend me that strength of yours. Oh, he removes both our masks and pulls me in to capture my lips with his. It's like his entire life essence is making contact with mine. I can feel my heart leap against my chest, something stirring up inside. And just as easily, he breaks apart, eyes flashing blue right in front of me. A small part of me wants to tell him not to do it. Don't fight. Don't leave me. But all I can manage is to nod at him. He's got to do this. And then he blasts off into the sky. Goodbye, my lover. I fiddle around with my phone, scanning over the countless missed calls and messages my brother has sent me. I type in a quick message that I'm fine and we're all here. Then I find Neil's name in my contact list and ring it. Unsurprisingly, he doesn't pick up, so I try again and again until I've been ringing it for 5 minutes. He finally picks up. Miss Hurst, now is not the time. Call me when there isn't a national emergency, he says in an aggravated tone. I know, that's why I'm calling. I captured Benjamin Prinz and I want to hand him over to you. I'll send you the location. The phone call ends and a few seconds later, Neil has sent me the coordinates to wherever he is currently located. I hop into the van and drive away. Luckily, I know how to drive a van. Oh, look, it's the place where we had the fashion show in Kane's route. I arrive at the back of a large building. There's a bunch of black vans parked around. And surprisingly, my drive through the city was uneventful as the streets were deserted. I did see a lot of fighting in the air, though. I park the van and step outside. A bunch of men walk out of the building to greet me. Among them is Neil Forrester. Where is he? He asks. I open up the back of the van to reveal the 4 captured men. Take them away, commands Neil. A few of his men start unloading the people from the van, taking them inside the building. At least Benjamin was dealt with. What about the ship? I ask, pointing at the sky. Are there any supers to help? Neil sighs, rubbing his temples. That was the worst time. We've lost quite a few high-profile superheroes from the drug they were injected with. My brother tried to make an antidote, I mention. This makes him seem hopeful as he raises his eyebrows. Was it a success? Oh, it's a failure. He's still working on it. Well, we certainly can't hope for an antidote here. My guys have been working on one since we got into contact with the drug. Neil looks genuinely concerned. So there's no one to help stop Veritas? I say in this tiny voice. Is James really alone? Neil shakes his head. We've got a couple of supportive superheroes, but they do not possess aggressive abilities. We are in a difficult situation. We may have to start using our tanks. I anxiously rub my hands together. I look up at the sky, having a good view from here on the small field. James is up in the sky, and I see two other people emerge from the ship. It's Caleb holding Lana. A few seconds later, and Veritas descends as well, a flurry of green vines wrapped around him, keeping him afloat. I wish I knew what they were saying, but everything is way too high up. Neil suddenly looks away, pressing his phone against his face. Is that correct? They're pushing back. Keep us posted. It seems Voltage is leading some sort of attack against the extraterrestrials, Neil explains. I sigh in relief. Kane managed to find some supers. What about Julio? We've taken out most of them. The few stragglers that were left have fled, but we're in pursuit. He points at the sky. However, that's our current issue. James flies away from his position with the three of them following. Good, he's leading them away from the city. They're heading for the park. Then I see something else exit the ship. My jaw Is it Nornus? Nornus? What is he doing here? He's piloting one of the small drones the other soldiers are using and is flying after the rest, heading towards the park. We have to get to the park, I warn Neil. That's where they'll go. Neil, not questioning my information, points at several soldiers and they all enter their vans. Miss Hirth, you're with me. Isn't her super seeing part of her ability? Like, it would be weird if she was like a human who could just see that far. That had to be like another facet of her ability, her superness. So if she can still see that, isn't she still super? Or does she just have like crazy good eyesight? Better than anybody, even James with all of his weirdness. We all get inside the van. Unrest swivels in my stomach as we approach the park. I've heard several blasts, but I couldn't see anything due to the buildings obstructing my vision. But now that we're here, I can see how James is fighting with Veritas up in the air. I throw open the door and get out of the van, running towards the grassy hill to get closer to them. Miss Hirth, stay here where it's safe, Neil calls out after me. James is fast and precise, but most of his attack are blocked instantly by a wall of vines that Veritas is controlling. It seems Veritas is barely putting in any effort. I can't hear what they're saying. Then I spy the small drone in the air, the one operated by Nornus. He practically crash lands into a small hill and the drone comes to a stop as it hits a tree. I quickly rush over to check it out. Nornus! I yell as I step over the small drone. How the hell did you open this thing? Then an opening appears from the top and Nornus climbs out of it, coughing loudly. Are you hurt? I question him as I help him get out of the drone. He holds his stomach but gives me a strained smile. Hello, Princess Valkii. It's good to see you again. What are you doing here? I ask. This is not the place for you to be right now. I snuck on board. I was going to go with my brother and see another world for the first time. He winces as he clutches his stomach. It seems like he's got a large bruise on his side caused by the crash. But mostly, I just wanted to see you again. I'm flattered, but I look up at the sky to see James and Veritas fighting. You should have stayed at the palace where it's safe. Norna suddenly looks down at the grass. Princess Valkii, I found out about something while you were gone, he says ominously. What's that? My brother, he's the bad guy, isn't he? He asks in a childish manner. I'm sorry, I say apologetically. Your brother has apparently conquered many planets and is attempting to do the same with my planet. Nornus's face falls. Yes, that much I figured out. I'm sorry. I just wanted to visit your planet, not harm it in any way. No, that's not your fault. I give him a sad smile. Also, while I was on board, I managed to talk to Princess Lana and... We're interrupted when Caleb lands in front of us, speak of the devil. Lana releases her hold on his waist and steps onto the grass. It seems you decided to disembark the ship after all, she says, tutting at Nornus. Nornus breaks eye contact with her, suddenly looking all anxious and stiff. I know Lana has never been fond of Nornus, but the animosity between them is downright palpable. Prince Nornus, what is the meaning of this? Caleb demands to know. Nornus releases a nervous giggle. Hi, Captain Caleb. Surprise, hee hee. Caleb turns to Lana. And you knew about this? Well, it's hard to ignore him when I find him hiding in my chamber. Good to see you, Princess. Alive and well, Lana addresses me. How can you sound so chipper when James is currently fighting Veritas? I ask of her. Everyone is being so cavalier towards one another, completely ignoring the fight happening above us. Well, there's not much I can do here, Lana says, shrugging. If Captain James just begged for forgiveness, surely Lord Veritas would forgive him, but now, Caleb sighs. This is a fight to the death. I'm not going to intervene. That's your brother, I stress, angry that both his siblings don't seem to care much. Yes, and he went against Lord Veritas' commands, Caleb responds plainly. Lana rolls her eyes at him. Oh, you're going to have to stop following your rule book already. I suddenly see James zoom past me, apparently having been knocked away from a tornado of vines. I quickly seek shelter as our surroundings get windy and debris starts floating around. Veritas approaches James with an army of vines. No matter how many of them James cuts down, new ones immediately grow back to replace them. It seems like Veritas has the upper hand. I feel so useless. James charges towards Veritas, attempting a frontal attack to barrel through the wall of vines. He actually manages to pierce through it and reach Veritas. Veritas easily throws his arm out towards James, creating a giant shockwave all around us. With horror, I watch as James is shot in the opposite direction, landing in the dirt and creating a giant crater. James! I cry out, running through all the dust and smoke. My heart pounds like crazy, adrenaline rushing through all my veins. My feet are quick but clumsy as I dash towards James's unconscious body. When I see Veritas approach as well, I know I won't make it in time. James lifts up his head, but I can tell he doesn't have the strength to evade a lethal attack. Don't you touch him! I yell with all the air in my lungs. Put your hand out. Try. Please. Veritas finally spots me running, diverting his attention towards me. Do not intervene, he says as he whips out a hand, sending a vine straight at me. He knocks me off my feet and I'm laid down in the dirt. I land down in the dirt. I feel like I hit a brick wall. All of my insides are tingling and I gasp for air. I look up and see him still slowly approaching a wide-open James. A current in my blood grows stronger with each rapid heartbeat until I can feel my entire body heat up. My skin starts to tear open, excuse me? I pick myself up with the newfound energy and run as fast as I can. I have to make it, I have to. The blood inside of me comes to a boiling point when I finally reach him. Yes, this is what I was also hoping for. Oh, has her ability come back and she's also like Rahu because of him biting her? This is so cool! I pant heavily, crouched over James's body, who's staring at me in surprise. Millions of threads have sprung from the pores of my skin, piercing my clothes and forming a cocoon around me and James. My glowing eyes are wide and determined. I can feel every single thread. My power has not only returned, it has increased. Don't come any closer, I hiss at Veritas, who has halted his advance. I will kill you, I threaten. I can't let Veritas come near him. He'll be killed for sure. Get out of my way, you pest, Veritas says coolly as he lashes out a vine whip straight at me. I seal the cocoon completely, blocking his attack. My thread absorbs the damage completely. James, I heave out. What do I do? I ask in despair. James stirs as his breathing becomes louder, but he has a hard time managing to produce a sentence. Hold, he coughs out. The cocoon shakes and I gulp. This won't hold his attacks much longer. Then it suddenly cracks in the middle, my thread falling to the ground as the cocoon caves in. Veritas' form emerges from the dust. The icy look on his face makes me want to run away in fear. A vine shoots from his hand. It's so fast I cannot react in time. It wraps itself around my neck. I reach out my arm, sending a million pieces of thread his way, shaped like a drill. It pierces. The vine around my neck loosens and I gasp for air. No! I scream in response when I realize what I've done. No! I don't want this. It's okay, Valkii. Nornus musters all his strength to speak. My makeshift drill of thread was supposed to pierce Veritas. My makeshift drill of thread that was supposed to pierce Veritas has gone through Nornus' chest instead. He's blocked him. Nornus, Veritas gasps, his eyes wide as well. What did you do? I dissolve my thread immediately and Nornus collapses. Well, you probably shouldn't have done that. Like, keep it up so that he doesn't bleed out. Veritas clutches him in his arms. My legs start to tremble. I've hurt Nornus. Nornus coughs up some blood, contrasting against his pale blue skin. It's okay. I had to pay for what I've done, he mutters with a warm smile, looking right at me. Pay for what? I screech. I realize we both have to pay, he says, straining his voice. He's looking at Veritas now. Brother, you were good to me. Nornus, we are heading back to the ship to deal with this injury, says Veritas, his voice still alarmed. No, this is the final stop for us. I can't let you continue to terrorize these people. Nonsense, stop talking. We are leaving right away. No, he breathes out. I want to talk to Valkii. Nornus' eyes meet my gaze. Don't feel sorry, Valkii. Thanks to you, I got to see your world after all. He says with a sad smile. Nornus, I'm so sorry, I say with a hiccup. I didn't mean to. It's okay. I meant to. I had to pay for my sins. I don't want to cry because it completely fucks my makeup. Because of the setting powder I use. He looks up at Veritas. Both of ours. When he finally closes his eyes, pursing his lips. A ringing sound emerges from his mouth and his body starts to emit a white glow. My eyes widen. That's the same thing he did back in the alley. Caleb takes Lana in his arms and quickly flies off with her. Nornus, no, don't do this, Veritas warns in a panic. But Nornus' high-pitched screams get louder and louder, his body glowing so bright I have to look away from it. I shield myself from the cutting wind around us, building another cocoon around me and James. My eardrums can hardly handle the ringing and my cocoon is getting shred to pieces. No, I have to hold on. If I don't, Nornus will kill us. Why is Nornus doing that? I mean, I guess he's trying to take out his brother in the only way he knows how? A large sonic boom explodes in the air, ripping away the cocoon and showering me with 1,000 little cuts on my skin. My thread is flying around everywhere. I throw myself on top of James's body to protect him, squeezing my eyes shut. And then the screaming stops. The wind settles down. I open up my eyes and see that Nornus and Veritas have vanished from the scene. Nothing but a large crater is left behind. What? I breathe out, wiping away my hair from my eyes. My skin stings all over. I'm dripping blood by now. I rid myself of all my thread, letting it fall from my body like a dog shedding its coat. I look over to James and I cup his cheek. He feels warm to the touch. James, I call out to him, lightly shaking him. Ugh, he groans, still alive. I sigh in relief. Thank God. Why, he starts slowly. But then his eyes widen as he sees me. Not possible, he gapes at me. He grabs my arm that's covered in scratches and pushes away the sleeve to reveal a glowing blue mark in my skin. You phased, he breathes out. I blink my blue eyes at him. Yes, I say, like I completely understand what's going on, even though I don't. Veritas. James suddenly hisses, looking around him. He's gone, I tell him. Caleb lands near us, placing Lana down onto the ground. James, you're still alive, she says, walking towards him. When she sees me, she halts her pace. That's going to need some explaining, she tuts at my face. This can't be. Lord Veritas is... Caleb mutters to himself in shock. Obliterated by the little prince, Lana finishes for him. A sharp pain stabs my heart. Nornus, he's gone. He sacrificed himself to stop Veritas. I just can't make sense of it. Lana bends down to James's level. Seems like you've sustained some internal damage. Nothing that shouldn't heal within a day or two, she says in a confident voice. Lord Veritas, Caleb repeats like an empty shell. Oh, stop your fussing. Your precious lord is dead, says Lana with a roll of her eyes. We've got some real work to do now. James picks himself up from the ground, though he's having a hard time keeping up straight. I quickly pull his arm over my shoulder to stabilize him. Never expected the little prince could be useful when I helped him stay hidden in my chambers, Lana muses to herself. I narrow my eyes at her. He's dead now, I say with a bite to my tone. I can feel my heartbeat slow down, my skin prickles and the blue marks fade. I just don't want to believe it. I pierced him with my thread and he's gone. Well, he wouldn't have stayed alive for very long afterwards anyway, she says dismissively. You take that back, I snap at her. Nornus didn't deserve to go like that. Lana, James cuts in. Are you really the leader of the resistance? Would you expect anything less from me? She says, her lips curling into a smile. Caleb snaps his head up. Excuse me? Where's the rest? James asks. Surely you didn't come without any supporters. Lana raises her nose in the air. No, of course not. She then turns to face Caleb, who looks gobsmacked. Reaching out for his wrist, she turns it around and presses down on a small device attached to his wrist. This is your queen. Rendezvous at Captain Caleb's location. Queen? Caleb shrieks as he pulls his wrist back. Valkii, a voice calls out to me. Is it Eok? Eok! I turn around to see Eok running at us at full speed. He looks a little roughed up, but otherwise okay. There are a bunch of other Gout running behind him. Eok! I'm relieved to see his face. Eok? Lana repeats in disbelief. Eok and the others bow in front of Lana when they catch up to us. Princess Lana, it is good to see you again, says Eok with pride. Lana gives him a look of disgust. Who is this? She asks, turning towards James. James huffs. Your loyal servant. Ah, Eok shrieks. I'm wearing an earthling disguise. It's me, Eok, he says hastily, and starts tugging on the glamour ring. Don't transform yet, I warn him, unless you want to burst out of those clothes of yours. He gulps. Right. Caleb shuffles away from Eok, looking distrustful of anyone and anything at the moment. Eok, is that right? Lana muses. Seems you have survived after all. I have kept an eye on Prince James as well, he says with a polite bow. Good job. However, I am quite peeved to hear that you went against my plans and took the princess away. Eok's face falters. That is understandable. Queen Lana, we have managed to dispatch most of Veritas's loyalists, says one of the Gout soldiers. Well done, she says gleefully. All according to plan. What exactly are your plans? Asks James with an edge to his tone. Don't die and take out Veritas. That's not much of a plan, is it? James raises his eyebrows. Oh, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, dear brother. There's already been a successful coup of Kulil now that he took most of his soldiers on this mission to HX-108. Oh. It's been successful. Eok's eyes widen. We've taken back the palace. That's right. All we needed to do was deal with Veritas here and... She looks down at the crater. Seems the trash took itself out. Do not call Norna's trash, I growl at her. He sacrificed himself. I can call whoever was part of the genocide of my people trash, she says in a cold tone. Lana, you are hot as hell, girl, and you know what? I love a bad bitch, but, like, Nornus was just a kid who had no idea what was going on. So you cannot say that. He had no idea. He was purposefully kept out of knowing anything. Prince Nornus was not a part of that. Thank you, James, my beloved. James corrects her. Now that, my brother, is where you're wrong, she says with a sly smile. We found some evidence about Nornus's powers, Eok explains, and how it related to our family being brutally murdered, says Lana. Yeah, but he didn't know that. Hello? I just heard my cat go prrrr. What is it? Did you wake yourself up, Baba? What is that supposed to mean? I ask. The little prince is the one who wiped out the Rahu in our palace. Our family. I always thought it was Veritas, but he's actually not as strong as he appears. It was the little prince all along. Cannot be true, says James. Prince Nornus is the same age as Caleb, who was but a mere baby at the time. A baby with extraordinary powers, she stresses. It was Veritas' most powerful weapon. So he was a baby, and you think that it's still his fault? Like, if you want to get technical about it, sure, but he was a fucking baby. And Veritas still used him. I refuse to believe that. But then, he did say he has to pay for what he's done. He was just a baby, I mutter. It's not like he knew what he was doing. I can feel tears well up in my eyes, but I do my best to suppress them. Did he know what he's done? I ask. He was ignorant of the matter until I informed him of his past on the ship while I hid him in my chambers. So you told him? I can't tell whether or not it was better he stayed ignorant. Then Prince Nornus was the one who killed our parents. James looks resigned, and also took away your phasing ability. Now, can you understand why I'm not so fond of the little prince? We're suddenly interrupted by a ton of small ships arriving at the scene. Soldiers controlling the ships land on the grass and march toward Lana. Princess Lana, says one of the soldiers. No, Queen. He corrects himself and bends down on his knee. All the other soldiers do the same. I think this is pretty much the entire ship. Veritas is no more. We have freed ourselves from his wretched claws. Yule is ours, she preaches in front of the small crowd. The soldiers all cheer in response. I am completely lost here, says Caleb. It seems our sister was cleverer than we gave her credit for, James says with a small smile. Captain James, is Lord Veritas really gone? It appears to be that way. Nornus basically vanquished him for us, I say softly. Who do I serve now? Caleb asks, looking for some guidance. Again, all Caleb has known, so he does not know any better. James lifts up his hand and points at Lana's back. Her. Protect her. Serve her. Oh, my kitty cat! That is all I ask of you. Come on, Baba. Huh? What do you mean? We can protect her together. James stands up straight, shrugging off his arm from my shoulder. That is not going to be possible. Caleb starts to laugh out of nervousness. Can someone please explain what's going on here? Lana marches up to James and me. Now, you'll have to enlighten us about this. She looks directly at me. It is as you saw, says James vaguely. Her eyes widen. You mated with the princess, she gasps as she puts it together. Eok's mouth drops open as well. Mated? He echoes incredulously. Yeah, we did. What are you going to do about it? I ask in a highly defensive tone. James snorts behind me, smirking. Easy now. My sister knows what it means and that there's nothing she can do to revert it. I just can't believe it. You mated with someone that isn't even Rahu. What is he going to say? Fucking single for his entire life? You guys are the only ones left and you're all related. That would be problematic. Unless it's not in your culture. I don't know, but it seems it probably is. You will have to accept it, James says, completely calm. Pookie, what are you doing? This is going to ruin my plans, she says, suddenly biting down on her nails. Lana, James starts, I'm not going to be part of your plans. She stops biting and looks up at him. What do you mean? Lord Veritas is gone. You have conquered Kulul. Yule is not my home. I do not belong there. HX-108 isn't your home either, she snaps. He smiles softly at me. Home is wherever my mate is. My stomach leaps in response. Oh, you're so freaking cute. Repulsive, Lana says in disgust. Do you want to stay here? I ask, as this is news to me too. That is what I have decided, yes, he answers. It was decided the moment we bonded. No, you have to come back with me, Lana whines. We're the last of our kind. We need to stick together. I didn't go through all this trouble to have us be split up. James closes his eyes with a light sigh. I'm sorry to have to disappoint you, but I am glad I got to see you are safe and well. That is all I could ever ask for. Lana pouts at him. Are you really not going back with us? You don't have to be captain anymore. You can do whatever you want. You can bring the princess along as well. Yule was never our home. It was taken by force. James explains. I shall remain here with Valkii. Lana suddenly throws her arms around James, surprising him. You dum-dum, she whines. Why do you always have to be the responsible one? James hugs his sister back. Someone has to make sure you don't do anything stupid. I can hardly believe what you're saying. This is not the same brother I saw noons ago. You'd be correct, he grins. Lana releases James and faces me. I guess a princess isn't so bad after all. Oh, right, you don't know. I say, I'm not a princess. James suddenly awkwardly looks away as Lana's face pales. What? She screeches. Caleb closes his eyes. Nothing I know is the truth anymore. I need to lie down, perhaps check myself in at the medical bay. I lied to save my own skin, I explain. I'm just a regular person. I am a tailor. I make clothes, like the ones I've made for you. That does make a lot of sense, she muses, so not a princess. This is absurd. You're of royal blood, James. She heard the call, Lana. Do not argue my choice. Lana clicks her tongue at him. Fine, I won't dwell on it. However, I cannot possibly leave you alone here. It's not safe. How have they not taken you prisoner yet? James and I make eye contact with each other. It's a long story, I say. I will take care of myself. It is you I'm worried about. The humans see you as their enemy. You'll have to leave as soon as possible. I'm sure we could come to a peaceful agreement after a discussion with their leader, she says flippantly. As much as I would like to believe so, you did just attack Earth again. I do not think Forrester Inc. will give them much leeway. Well, I didn't, for sure, she stresses. Take Caleb and go, James says urgently. I have to agree with Prince James here. We should leave as soon as possible. Eok joins the conversation. Oh, my hair's in your face, Baba. As they're talking amongst themselves, my eyes wander over towards the crater left behind by Nornus. I still can't face the reality that he sacrificed himself. Wait, I see something. In the middle of the crater, it's a small nub in the dirt. I push myself past everyone else, shoving them out of the way. I run as fast as I can, dropping myself down inside of the crater. In front of me, there's a small white seedling in the dirt. It's the same type I've seen in Nornus' garden. Nornus! I exclaim as I bury both my hands in the dirt to scoop the seedling out. It's small and white, but it feels brittle and lifeless. It should be glowing, but it's not. What did Nornus do to save it when I was there? He used his powers. I don't have those kinds of powers. The more time passes, the more I see the seedling wilt in front of me. I have to try. I move it in front of my mouth and purse open my lips, exhaling my warm breath against it. Please let it work. Footsteps appear behind me and I can tell Eok has joined me. Valkii, what is that? He asks. I breathe against it one more time, hoping it'll go through. But it's not glowing like it should be. I can feel tears wanting to burst out of me and it's hard to rein them in. I think it's Nornus, but it's dying. I can't. I start to sob. Tears finally roll down my face and my eyes flicker blue due to my highly emotional state. I blow against it one more time, and again, and again. You did your best, Eok says solemnly, placing a hand on top of my shoulder. My tears fall into the small patch of dirt in my hand, soaking the soil. I'm about to give up, but then... The seedling starts to glow, fading in and out, very faint, like a heart that's winding up. I can't help but cry out of happiness. It's glowing, I say, holding it up in the air. The glowing becomes stronger until it's pearly white and the seedling softly starts to sway with life. Wow, you did it, Valkii, Eok says in awe. There's like a tear holding on for dear life in my bottom eyelashes. Go away. I snuggle the patch of dirt and seedling close to my chest. This is what Nornus left behind, a piece of him. I'm going to take care of you, don't worry. James finally enters the scene. Eok, tell me why my mate is crying. If it is because of you, I will... I didn't do anything! Eok jumps away from James. I stand up from the ground and proudly show the glowing seedling to James. It's Nornus, I say with a smile. James doesn't look convinced, but doesn't argue with me either. Lana joins us as well, one of her eyebrows raised. What is all this fuss about some plant? She asks. Before I can explain, we're interrupted by a cavalry of vans driving onto the grass. Forrester Inc. has finally decided to join us after watching from the sidelines. I hug the plant close to my body, afraid something will happen to it. Neil and an army of guards march up the grassy hill. He looks over at Caleb and Lana. By the power vested in me by the United Nations, I declare you are all under arrest for crimes against humanity. Well, oh dear. Okay, you know what? They did manage to wrap everything up. It took almost an hour, but they did manage to wrap everything up. That's good. And we have one more left, and I will show you the proof. Not that you need it. I just want to see it. See? Passionate epilogue. So, I'm guessing the epilogue will probably be the same length. But I have the plus content. So obviously, because you can see as Pinor, but, and you wouldn't see that if I didn't have the plus content, I'm pretty sure. I assume in the epilogue they're going to bone, so that's going to have to be edited out, because I can't show that. But yeah. I think if I'm allowed, I will do the side stories after I finished everyone, apart from this guy's not coming until 2025, like later this year. He's currently in development. This is like changed, I think, because I think it said he would be done in 2024. It's crazy. This person is working on like a new game as well. So that'll be interesting. I will see you in the next one, and then we'll be done with James. That's freaking crazy. I'll see you then.